August 2006. Wall Street's ticker lights flicker with a single electrifying question. Who will dare rewrite the rules of big soda? Inside PepsiCo, the global powerhouse of soda and snacks, a decision is minutes away, poised to shatter every convention in its path. The company's next CEO wouldn't be the typical insider or a veteran mogul. Instead, it would be a woman who grew up thousands of miles away in southern India. A woman who believed a business could do far more than just sell cola and chips. As the board finalized its vote, Indra Nooyi stood on the brink of history. If all went as planned, she would become the first female chief executive in PepsiCo's 41-year history, an immigrant woman of color at the pinnacle of corporate America. But with that title came a daunting question. Could she transform a junk food empire into a force for good and profit by rewriting its recipe for success around purpose? Skeptics inside and outside the company were already asking, is she about to wreck Pepsi's secret sauce? But Indra's calm exterior masked a fierce internal resolve. This wasn't just a business strategy for her. It was a deeply held conviction, born from a lifetime of experiences that taught her a leader's responsibility extends beyond the balance sheet. She had a vision, one that defied the cynics. In mere moments, the world would find out if PepsiCo was ready to see business differently through the eyes of Indra Nooyi. Little did anyone realize this decision would ignite a struggle between tradition and transformation that would test every ounce of her resolve. How did a middle-class girl from Chennai, India, come to stand here, about to reinvent one of the world's biggest companies? And would her bold idea of performance with purpose secure PepsiCo's future or jeopardize it? This is Indra Nooyi, the architect of purpose. Stay with us, because Indra's journey is a story of courage, vision, and the power of purpose-driven leadership that might just change how you think about big business. In the bustling city of Madras, today known as Chennai, on India's southeastern coast, a baby girl is born into a traditional Tamil family. She's named Indra, meaning ruler of the heavens in Sanskrit, an auspicious name, though no one yet imagines the heights she will climb. The Nooyi household is warm but disciplined. Indra's father works at the State Bank of Hyderabad, a steady job that provides a comfortable middle-class life. Her mother, a tireless homemaker, is the undisputed chief of the household. Every evening, after tending to Indra and her siblings, her mother does something unconventional. She gathers the children and poses big, imaginative questions to them. If you were the Prime Minister of India, what would you do? She asks at dinner. Or, if you were President of the United States, how would you lead? Young Indra and her siblings are expected to answer on the spot, making a speech for the role they dream of. It was more than a game. It was a nightly exercise in audacity and responsibility. These role-play debates lit a fire in Indra's mind, training her to think systemically and to see leadership not as a position of power, but as a duty to solve problems. They taught her, long before she fully understood it, to dream without limits. In a conservative society where girls are often expected to stay in the background, Indra's mother tells her, "You can do and be anything." And Indra believes her. She absorbs the values of hard work and education deeply. At the Holy Angels Anglo-Indian Higher Secondary School, she's a bright, curious student who often pushes beyond the standard curriculum. Teachers noticed her fierce determination. Whether mastering mathematics or writing an essay, Indra tackled it with a quiet ferocity. It wasn't just ambition, it was the weight of her mother's unwavering faith in her. She felt a profound responsibility not to let that belief be misplaced, a feeling that would fuel her for decades to come. She also watches her mother run the household with impeccable efficiency, and her father navigate finances responsibly. From them, Indra gains two guiding principles: discipline and ambition. By her teenage years, in the late 1960s, Indra Nooyi is already challenging expectations. Music becomes one unconventional outlet for her bold spirit. Believe it or not, this studious young woman spends her evenings and weekends as the lead guitarist in an all-girls rock band, strapping on an electric guitar and belting out rock and roll covers in front of excited crowds. In an era when good Indian daughters are expected to be demure and traditional, Indra is on stage in pants or a sari, riffing to songs by the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Her conservative neighborhood certainly doesn't know what to make of it, a proper Tamil Brahmin girl playing rock music? But for Indra, this was more than just fun. It was an early, crucial act of self-definition. On stage, she wasn't just playing music. She was proving to herself that she could create an identity outside the narrow roles prescribed for women. Alongside music, she was also a cricket player, a bat-wielding girl in a sport dominated by boys. Fearless? Absolutely. These passions were the first expressions of a core part of her character. She was not afraid to break the mold. Those twin flames of curiosity and defiance become the engine that propels her from neighborhood stages to the world's most powerful boardrooms. If a rule seems unfair or outdated, she'll challenge it, whether it's on a stage or in a boardroom. But she also knows that to truly make her mark in the world, she'll need an excellent education and a career. Indra excels in science and math and earns admission to Madras Christian College, one of the most prestigious institutions in her city. There, she dives into a triple major: physics, chemistry, and mathematics, graduating in 1974 with top grades and a mind sharpened for problem solving. The diploma is barely dry when another thought strikes her. Knowledge is the ignition, but the real race is still ahead. She's now a young woman with a big dream: to pursue business, a field virtually unheard of for Indian women at the time. So when Indra announces she's going to enroll in the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, her relatives raise their eyebrows. An MBA? In the 1970s, business school is an almost radical choice for a middle-class girl. But Indra's parents stand by her. At IMM Calcutta, she is one of only a handful of women in a sea of men, confidently holding her own. She's not just surviving, she's thriving. In 1976, Indra Nooyi graduates with her MBA, ready to blaze a trail in the corporate world. Her early career in India is a flurry of learning experiences and early hints of the leader she will become. She lands a job as a product manager at Johnson & Johnson, a role coveted by many IIM graduates. Almost immediately, she's handed a delicate assignment. It's the late 1970s, and Johnson & Johnson is launching stay-free sanitary pads in the conservative Indian market. Talking openly about women's menstrual products is taboo. Advertisements are tricky, and many in the company doubt a young woman can handle such a sensitive product launch. But Indra dives in head first. She works on marketing campaigns that educate without offending, even going door to door in some areas to promote the product in person. The launch is a success, an early victory that teaches her the power of understanding your consumer and being courageous in your messaging. After J&J, she spends a short stint at a textile firm, Mettur Beard Cell, learning the ropes of a completely different industry. These roles give her something invaluable: confidence that she can adapt to any sector, any challenge. Yet, even as Indra's career in India takes off, she feels a pull for something more. She's ambitious, and she knows the world's business epicenter lies elsewhere, in the United States. It's a bold, even shocking idea, leaving her family and everything she knows to study abroad. Few young Indian women in 1978 would have done it. But Indra hears about the Yale School of Management in the US, which has a unique program blending public and private management. The program speaks to her broader interests in both business and societal impact. She takes a deep breath and applies. When she gets accepted with a scholarship, Indra faces a life-changing decision, a leap into the unknown that will pit her soaring ambition against bouts of isolation and doubt. In her mid-20s, she boards a plane to America, alone, to pursue a second master's degree, this time in a foreign land with scarcely any safety net. It's hard to overstate the leap of faith this required. Her family isn't wealthy. They've scraped together whatever they can to support her first year. Indra arrived in New Haven, Connecticut in the fall of 1978, a whirlwind of excitement and profound loneliness. The culture shock was immediate and overwhelming. She'd come from conservative Chennai to freewheeling American campus life practically overnight. On her first day, surrounded by students in t-shirts and jeans, their slang-filled English a rapid-fire puzzle, she felt utterly alien. The question wasn't just, how will I fit in? It was a deeper, more terrifying fear. Will they even see me? Will they hear my ideas past my accent? Have I made a terrible mistake? Money is tight and the cultural gap is wide, but Indra Nooyi is nothing if not resourceful. To make ends meet during grad school, she takes on a night job, working as a receptionist in her dorm from midnight to 5 a.m. Yes, while many classmates sleep, Indra sits at the front desk through the wee hours, checking in visitors and answering phones to earn an extra $50 a week. She often brings her textbooks to the desk, studying under the harsh fluorescent lights when things are quiet. It was a grueling routine, enough to crush most spirits. After her shift, she might catch an hour of sleep before heading to class, coffee in hand. In those quiet, lonely hours, doubt was a constant companion, but she fought it off by clinging to the vivid picture of the future she was building, brick by painful brick. This routine would break most people, but Indra turned a simple phrase into a psychological lifeline. If you want the rainbow, you have to put up with the rain.
It became a mantra, a conscious tool to endure the present for the sake of a future only she could see. She excels at Yale, fueled by grit and gallons of caffeine. Still, she faces moments that test her confidence. During one interview season, Indra, now a smart, qualified Yale MBA student, finds herself trying to mold into what she thinks American companies expect. She even buys an ill-fitting business suit in an attempt to look professional, like the locals, feeling totally out of her element in it. Sensing her discomfort, a career counselor asks what she would wear to an interview in India. "A sari," Indra answers. The counselor smiles. "Then wear the sari. If they don't hire you for who you are, that's their loss." So for her next big interview with the prestigious consulting firm Booz Allen Hamilton, Indra Nooyi proudly dons a turquoise silk sari, weaving her heritage into her presentation. She walks into the interview room expecting double takes, maybe even rejection. But to her surprise, the interviewer greets her warmly and dives straight into business case questions, far more interested in her ideas than her attire. Indra nailed the interview. This moment was a profound psychological turning point. It was the revelation that her identity, the very thing she feared was a liability, could be her greatest strength. She didn't need to erase parts of herself to succeed. She could be Indian, female, and unapologetically authentic. From that day on, she stopped trying to fit the mold and started using her unique perspective to break it. With a Yale degree in hand by 1980, Indra lands a job at the Boston Consulting Group, one of the top management consulting firms. Here, she starts carving out a reputation as a strategic wunderkind. Colleagues notice how she can synthesize complex problems quickly and isn't afraid to voice bold solutions. After a few years, her growing expertise in strategy leads her to leap into corporate roles. She joins Motorola in the early 1980s, rising to a director role in corporate strategy, at a time when Motorola is a giant in electronics. By the early 90s, she's headhunted to Asea Brown Boveri, a European engineering conglomerate, as a senior executive. At ABB, Indra earns a name for streamlining operations in North America. She displays a knack for seeing the big picture, mapping where industries are headed. By now, it's clear, Indra Nooyi has transformed from the shy newcomer at Yale into a formidable business mind. And just as importantly, she has carried her identity and values with her. She works insanely hard, yes, but she also treats people with empathy. And she isn't shy about standing out, even if that means wearing a sari in a boardroom or speaking with an accent in a field dominated by native English speakers. It's this unique blend of brilliance and authenticity that catches the attention of one of America's most iconic companies, PepsiCo. In 1994, Indra Nooyi gets a phone call that will change her life and the fate of a global brand. On the other end of the line, PepsiCo, inviting her to become its Senior Vice President of Corporate Strategy and Development, a role that would place her at the fulcrum of the Cola Wars. At 39 years old, Indra would be entering the upper echelons of a company known for its cutthroat Cola Wars with Coca-Cola and its huge portfolio of snacks like Lay's and Cheetos. PepsiCo in the mid-90s is already a behemoth, but it's hungry for fresh vision. The company has started to sense that consumer tastes are shifting and that it needs to diversify beyond sugary sodas and fried snacks to keep growing. Indra Nooyi looks like exactly the kind of strategist who can help plot that future. When she joins PepsiCo, she doesn't come in quietly. Almost immediately, Indra begins mapping out bold moves to reshape the company's portfolio. She asks big questions. Why should PepsiCo be just a soda and chips company? What if they could become a total beverage and food powerhouse, offering whatever people want to drink or snack on, whether it's indulgent or healthy? By the late 90s, these ideas crystallize into major deals, and Indra is at the helm of the strategy. In 1998, PepsiCo makes a game-changing acquisition, buying Tropicana, the famous orange juice brand. Many inside PepsiCo are surprised. Juice is far afield from Pepsi's cola turf, but Indra sees it differently. To her, Tropicana is PepsiCo's ticket into the breakfast table, into the homes of health-conscious families, a way to say, we're more than carbonated sugar water. The Tropicana deal is a success. Suddenly, PepsiCo owns the nation's best-selling orange juice, adding a nutritious halo to its image.
Years earlier, in 1997, Nooyi had already proven her strategic daring by spinning off PepsiCo's restaurant division, Pizza Hut, KFC, and Taco Bell, for $4.5 billion, creating what is now Yum Brands. The divestiture slashed debt and freed cash, sharpening the company's focus on beverages and snacks, and setting the stage for acquisitions like Tropicana. But Indra's not done. She has her eyes on a much bigger prize. By 2000, an opportunity arises to acquire the Quaker Oats Company. Quaker Oats might sound like oatmeal, but for PepsiCo, the real jewel in Quaker's crown is Gatorade, the sports drink taking the world by storm. Owning Gatorade could instantly make PepsiCo the dominant player in the growing sports and fitness beverage market. But this deal is a daring gambit. Quaker Oats is a huge company, and the price tag is high, roughly $14 billion. In late 2000, PepsiCo's arch-rival Coca-Cola actually almost snatches Quaker Oats first. Coke enters advanced talks to buy Quaker, then suddenly balks at the price and backs out, thinking it's too expensive. Indra pounces on the opening. She fervently advocates that PepsiCo should go all in and grab Quaker Oats while they can. It's not an easy sell. Some PepsiCo board members and executives worry they'd be overpaying, or question what Pepsi really knows about selling oatmeal and sports drinks. Indra, in her characteristic style, comes armed with data, vision, and unflinching conviction. She argues that Gatorade alone is worth it, that PepsiCo's distribution network can explode Gatorade's reach globally, and Quaker's healthy foods also align with trends she's been watching. Impressed by her analysis, PepsiCo's CEO and board greenlight the deal. In 2001, PepsiCo buys Quaker Oats, bringing Gatorade into the family. The Quaker acquisition is transformational. It signals to the world that PepsiCo is not just a cola company. It's a broad-based food and beverage titan that can cater to the gym-goer sipping Gatorade, the mom packing Quaker Chewy granola bars in her kid's lunch, and yes, the teenager guzzling Mountain Dew. Indra Nooyi's star soars. Within a few short years, she has helped PepsiCo pull off two of the biggest and smartest acquisitions in its history. Wall Street notices. Colleagues admire how she can see around corners, anticipating where consumers will be in 10 years and making bold moves to meet them there. By the early 2000s, Indra becomes PepsiCo's chief financial officer and president, effectively the number 2 in command. It's a meteoric rise. She's gone from a strategist behind the scenes to the heir apparent of a Fortune 100 company. And indeed, in 2006, the moment arrives that once seemed almost impossible. PepsiCo names Indra Nooyi as its chief executive officer, the 5th CEO in PepsiCo's history, and notably, the first woman and first immigrant to ever hold the post. The news resonates far beyond the business pages. Here is an Indian-born woman rising to lead an iconic American company with tens of billions in revenue. In one deft move, PepsiCo has shattered not one, but several glass ceilings. Women, especially women of color around the world, see Indra's ascent as groundbreaking. But for Indra, it's not just about making history. It's about the future she will shape. Little does PepsiCo know, she's about to push the company into a new era, one where profits and principles must coexist. From her first day as CEO, Indra Nooyi makes it clear she's not content to simply ride the wave of PepsiCo's existing brands. She intends to reroute the entire current, no matter how many powerful stakeholders are dragged by the undertow. She unveils a radical philosophy that will define her tenure: performance with purpose. In plain terms, Indra is declaring that making money is not enough. PepsiCo must also do right by society and the planet while doing right by shareholders. In the buttoned-up world of corporate strategy, this is revolutionary talk. Remember, this is 2006, years before terms like ESG, environmental social governance, or corporate purpose became buzzwords. Many executives at other companies are skeptical of mixing ideals with the bottom line. But Indra feels sure. Consumer attitudes are changing, the world is changing, and big companies must change too, or they'll be left behind. She's fond of telling colleagues and critics alike, companies today have to do more than just make money. They have to serve a larger purpose. It becomes her mantra.
Under the banner of Performance with Purpose, Nooyi sets ambitious goals. 1. Transform PepsiCo's product portfolio to include healthier options. This means more products like juice, water, whole grains, and nuts, and improving the nutritional profiles of classics, cutting sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats in the flagship snacks and drinks. 2. Make PepsiCo's environmental footprint lighter. Use less water, plastic, and energy, and reduce waste. 3. Invest in the well-being of employees and communities, from supportive workplace policies to philanthropy in the areas the company operates. Lofty ideals, to be sure, and pushing them forward is not always smooth sailing. Inside PepsiCo, some longtime executives privately worry, if we change recipes to use less salt, will consumers still love the taste of Lay's chips? If we push diet drinks and bottled water, will it cannibalize our superstar Pepsi-Cola? Analysts on Wall Street are asking harsher questions. Why is PepsiCo spending money to install eco-friendly manufacturing lines or funding community programs? Isn't that a distraction from the core business? The pushback was relentless.
Indra faced dissent in tense board meetings and public criticism from powerful investors. An analyst might complain that Nooyi's focusing on granola when America wants Mountain Dew. The pressure was immense, and the loneliness at the top palpable. In private moments, she surely wrestled with self-doubt, but she would return to her core conviction, armed with data and an unshakable belief that she was steering the ship not into a storm, but toward a new, more sustainable harbor. Standing firm wasn't a single act, it was a daily battle of will. She explains that shifting toward healthier products is a long-term play. It's where the growth will come as consumers become more health-conscious. She often points out that PepsiCo's indulgent products aren't going away. They'll just be alongside better choices for those who want them. And as she predicted, trends do start to shift. Diet sodas, teas, flavored waters, and baked snacks grow in sales, even as regular soda consumption in the US begins to decline year after year. Indra's changes position PepsiCo to weather these shifts better than if they had stayed the course. Still, in those early years, she gets her fair share of bruises. At shareholder meetings and on earnings calls, she's peppered with questions. Is all this good-for-you focus hurting the fun-for-you core of PepsiCo? But she combines her answers with compelling numbers. By investing in new products and markets, PepsiCo is opening fresh revenue streams. And indeed, under Nooyi's leadership, the company's performance speaks for itself. Over the 12 years that Indra Nooyi leads PepsiCo, revenues surge by more than 80%. Climbing from roughly $35 billion in 2006 to more than $64 billion in 2018. The stock price climbs steadily, creating enormous value for shareholders. Far from tanking the company, her strategy is vindicated by the results. PepsiCo doesn't stop being profitable, it becomes even more so, but in a more sustainable way. Indra likes to say, we can do both, do well and do good, and she proves it. Under her watch, PepsiCo also more than doubles its investment in R&D, rising from about $344 million in 2006 to over $750 million a decade later, fueling innovations like baked potato chips, zero-calorie natural sweeteners, and plant-based protein snacks. The company launches or acquires brands like Sabra Hummus, Naked Juice, and SodaStream, each squarely aimed at the modern, health-minded consumer. Each of those moves is carefully aligned with Nooyi's vision of a PepsiCo that caters to the modern consumer's wants and needs. Perhaps one of Indra's most significant, if less tangible, accomplishments is how she changes the culture at PepsiCo. She encourages a more diverse and inclusive leadership pipeline, knowing firsthand the value of different perspectives. We have to open the doors wider, she says. And under her tenure, PepsiCo promotes and hires more women and minorities into senior roles. Indra herself becomes a mentor and role model to countless young professionals. She's known for writing personal letters to the parents of her ranking executives, thanking them for the gift of their children's hard work, a gesture virtually unheard of in corporate America, and one that leaves even battle-hardened executives misty-eyed. While she is tough and demanding as a boss, famous for her all-night work sessions and her insistence on data-driven plans, she's also empathetic. She openly talks about her struggles to balance work and family, giving a human face to the challenges of being a working mom at the top. In doing so, Indra sparks a broader conversation about work-life balance and the support structures needed for women and men raising families while pursuing careers. She once candidly remarked that women can't have it all, speaking with raw honesty about the heart-wrenching guilt she felt missing her daughter's school events while running a global company. This wasn't a polished corporate soundbite. It was a confession. By admitting her own struggles, the powerful CEO of PepsiCo revealed she was grappling with the same painful trade-offs as millions of other working mothers. Her honesty was revolutionary, making it okay for others to acknowledge the tough choices and emotional toll of a demanding career.
By the 2010s, Indra Nooyi has become one of the most famous CEOs in the world. She's frequently featured on the cover of magazines. Fortune and Forbes routinely list her among the world's most powerful women, sometimes right at the very top. In 2007, 2008, 2009, year after year, Indra's name is in lights as a trailblazer, a ceiling shatterer, the pride of both America and India. She's invited to speak at global forums on leadership, business, and sustainability. When she travels to India, she's greeted almost like a head of state. The nation celebrates this hometown girl who conquered the global corporate arena. Yet, through all the fanfare, Indra remains deeply grounded, a trait she credits to her upbringing. In one oft-told anecdote, the same day she learned she'd been named CEO, she rushed home in Greenwich, Connecticut, to share the news with her family. Her mother happened to be visiting and was staying with Indra and her husband. Excitedly, Indra said, "Mom, I've got big news. I've just been named CEO of PepsiCo." Her mother's response was a lot different than what you might expect. She said, "That's nice, but we have no milk in the fridge. Go out and get some." So off went the new CEO, still in her work clothes, to the grocery store to buy milk. When she returned, milk in hand, her mom thanked her and said, "Now tell me about this new job." Indra laughs when recounting this story, but she also treasures it as a profound lesson. It was her mother's way of reminding her that titles are temporary, but roles like daughter, wife, and mother are for life. This simple act became a psychological anchor, a ritual of humility that kept her ego in check amidst global fame. No matter how powerful the CEO, she still had to get the milk. That humility, instilled since childhood, never left her. In meetings with frontline employees, she would take off the corporate armor and ask earnest questions. "How is your family? What can we do to support you better?" People who worked with her often say that Indra cared, really cared, about the people behind the numbers. It was, in many ways, her secret weapon in cultivating loyalty and a high-performing team. After a remarkable 12-year run as CEO, Indra Nooyi decided in 2018 that it was time to step down from the top job at PepsiCo. She had led the company longer than most CEOs have the stamina for, and she had accomplished what she set out to do: transform PepsiCo for the future and groom a new generation of leaders. On the day the news of her departure broke, tributes poured in from around the globe. Peers marveled at how she had navigated constant change in consumer trends and set a new benchmark for corporate responsibility. And yet, her exit also shone a light on a sobering fact.
women CEOs were still all too rare. With Indra stepping down, the number of female Fortune 500 CEOs fell from an all-time high and slid back to just 23 women out of 500 companies. The symbolism was not lost on anyone. Indra had been one of the few, and her presence had mattered. The torch would now pass to another, her successor, Ramon Laguarta, whom she had mentored and prepared. Stepping down as CEO and shortly after as chairman in 2019 didn't mean Indra disappeared from public life. Far from it. After catching her breath and finally spending a little more time with her family, she redirected her formidable energy to new arenas. Within months, she joined the board of directors of Amazon, arguably the most influential tech company in the world, where her insight was prized as the retail giant navigated global expansion. She also took a seat on the International Cricket Council board in 2018, becoming the ICC's first independent female director, a delightful nod to her lifelong love of cricket, and a role where she could blend her strategic brain with her passion for the sport. In July 2024, after completing the maximum 3 consecutive terms allowed under ICC rules, she stepped down and thanked the governing body for bringing the global game even closer to millions of new fans.
Beyond these high-profile roles, Indra dove into policy and advocacy work close to her heart. In 2021, she published her much-anticipated memoir, My Life in Full: Work, Family, and Our Future. In its pages, she tells the story we are sharing now, but also issues a clarion call for building a better support system for working parents, especially working mothers. She writes about how the workplace of the future must evolve to accommodate family life, so that the next Indra Nooyi, perhaps a young woman somewhere juggling dreams and diapers, can have it all a bit more easily than her generation did. The memoir becomes a bestseller, and Indra embarks on a book tour that's part inspirational speaking, part policy debate. She sits with heads of state, business leaders, and everyday folks in town halls advocating for things like paid family leave, flexible work hours, and childcare support as not just women's issues, but economic imperatives. It's as if her sense of purpose has only grown since leaving PepsiCo. She is no longer tied to quarterly earnings calls and can fully speak her mind on what companies should do to truly support their people. In that freedom, she has deepened her philanthropic footprint. In 2024 alone, Indra and her husband Raj committed multi-million-dollar gifts to data-driven public health programs at Yale School of Public Health and to advance health informatics research at the University of Texas at Arlington, investments aimed at harnessing analytics to improve community well-being.
Through it all, Indra continues to mentor rising leaders, especially women and immigrants. She'll take a call from a young female entrepreneur seeking advice, or drop by Yale, where she's now one of the school's most illustrious alumni, to talk with students about values-driven leadership. And she does it with the same authenticity that guided her decades ago. She often shows up to events in elegant Indian attire, her saris, proudly embracing the multicultural identity that once made her worry she wouldn't fit in. Today, Indra Nooyi's influence resonates far beyond the companies she's worked for. She has become a symbol,
of breaking barriers, yes, but also of leading with both head and heart. In the years since she launched Performance with Purpose, the corporate world has indeed started to come around to her way of thinking. By 2019, even the elite Business Roundtable of CEOs put out a statement redefining the purpose of a corporation to include not just serving shareholders, but also employees, customers, and communities. Essentially the ethos Indra had championed more than a decade earlier. She was ahead of the curve and in many ways helped bend that curve toward a more inclusive idea of capitalism. Many in business now view Indra Nooyi as the architect of purposeful leadership, a leader who sketched the blueprint that many others are following.
Looking back, the journey of Indra Nooyi is nothing short of extraordinary. A classic hero's arc that begins in obscurity, rises through relentless trials, peaks in a confrontation with entrenched corporate dogma, and settles into a legacy that outlives quarterly spreadsheets. She started as a curious, determined girl in a traditional family in India, daring to imagine herself in positions of power when such ideas were almost unheard of for girls around her. She crossed an ocean armed with intellect and grit, proved that she could excel at the highest levels while staying true to herself, and eventually rose to redefine what success means in global business. Indra's story carries a powerful message. Don't just strive for success, strive for significance. She often says, in effect, that success is fleeting, but significance, making a positive difference, endures. By infusing purpose into PepsiCo's profits, she didn't just ensure the company's prosperity, she changed the conversation in boardrooms everywhere. It's a legacy that goes far beyond quarterly earnings. It's seen in healthier snack options on our supermarket shelves, and in Fortune 500 companies increasingly talking about sustainability and diversity because they realize now it's part of long-term performance. Indra has shown that a leader can be tough-minded in results and soft-hearted in values at the same time. She once described her approach as doing business the right way, not just the easy way, and that philosophy has left an indelible mark. Even as we tell this story in 2025, Indra Nooyi remains a guiding light, still adding new chapters to her legacy. In the past 2 years, she has been named the 2024 Business Honoree by Girls with Impact, received the 2024 George W. Bush Medal for Distinguished Leadership, accepted Quinnipiac University's 2025 Impact Award, and is slated to receive the 2025 New England Choice Awards Lifetime Achievement Award later this year. The story comes full circle. The young girl challenged by her mother's nightly question, "If you were a leader, what would you do?" grew into a woman who answered it not with a speech, but with her life's work. She dared to ask corporate America the same kinds of questions about purpose, responsibility, and the kind of world we build through business. Her journey from strumming a guitar in an all-girls rock band to orchestrating a global business transformation is a reminder that brilliance can come from anywhere, from any gender, any country, any background. And when it's coupled with integrity and hard work, the results can truly change the world. Indra didn't just break the glass ceiling, she polished it so others can see through it and know they can break it too. Indra Nooyi, the architect of purpose. The title fits not just because she crafted a new blueprint for her company,
but because she's helped architect a new ideal for leadership in this modern era. She's living proof that doing right and doing well aren't mutually exclusive, but mutually reinforcing. And that might be her greatest legacy, proving that purpose is just as important as profit in defining a leader's success.
So, as we conclude this deep dive into Indra's life, think about what her story means for all of us. Perhaps you're inspired by how she balanced confidence with staying true to herself, like wearing a sari to that big interview, or how she pushed an age-old company to innovate and care about more than its bottom line. Or maybe it's how she showed that leadership is about service to employees, customers, and community, not just power. Indra's journey asks us, what's our purpose? And how can we, in our own lives or organizations, strive for something greater than ourselves while still achieving success? In a world that often says, choose one, do good or do well, Indra Nooyi's life loudly answers, why not both? Thank you for spending these 20 minutes with Modern Biography, exploring Indra Nooyi, the architect of purpose. If her journey struck a chord, pass this story forward and let purpose go viral. Share in the comments the blueprint you're drafting for your own impact, and hit subscribe so you never miss the leaders rewriting our era. Until next time, build boldly, lead with heart, and remember, a real climb lifts others too. See you in the next story.